耶娑哈，哦南无曼殊悉尼南无苏悉南无大曼殊耶娑哈。觉当主义中南来将诸般多难题教书记，那给全年给别从南给若拉被接上给诸法书，觉当主义中南来将诸般多难题教书记，那给全年给别从南给若拉被接上给诸法书。觉当主义中南来将诸般多难题教书记，那给全年给别从南给若拉被接上给诸法书。这个就是没多长，让人心里的根巴子，啥个心都没得发也，这个那他心拉绝巴说，为当不如让那边到了上帝呀大呀。Please adjust your sitting posture according to the 7 meditative postures of Vairocana. And think, all sentient beings have been my mothers. And all sentient beings have been my mothers, not just once, but for numberless times. They are as kind as my mothers in this life. Even though all kind mothers sentient beings want happiness and do not want even a small suffering. However, due to engaging wrongly in objects of adoptions and abandonment, they only experience suffering. In our minds, sincerely generate loving kindness towards all kind mothers sentient beings, thinking, how nice it would be if all kind mothers sentient beings were to have happiness and the causes of happiness, that is, virtue. May all kind mothers sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. I will cause all kind mothers sentient beings to have happiness and the causes of happiness. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
Okay, just the one there, you Monday night, you can be in that you want in that, so you can do it. So, you get all that show to the shin, but I'm like shinking of the soul. Never to the ninja words.
Next, we generate compassion towards all suffering mother sentient beings, thinking, how nice it would be if the bodies of all suffering mother sentient beings are free from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as physical pain, sickness, and problems caused by 4 elements. May the bodies of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue. Or free the bodies of all suffering mother sentient beings from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
He just the one there, you Monday night, you can tell me to it and not to how about the so you could draw that show to the shin, but I'm like shinking of the soul.
How nice it would be if the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings, free from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as fear, anxiety, mental suffering, and all negative, coarse, and subtle discursive thoughts. May the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue. Free the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
这就是多呢，这些蛮多人，我真的是没经历过查了，真的，我这就找到个小伙子，心里面那么的心情都是没关系的。
How nice it would be if the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue. All negative, coarse, and subtle negative speech, such as telling lies. May the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
也就是另外呢，就是嘛的，过是就比小多了，比求他那个真的这么，我这个到那个小伙子心里面那么的心情都是没关系的事情。
How nice it would be. How nice it would be if the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue. May the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings from all classes discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
甚至这个汤是多了，东西就不给我的占了，这么我去找到个小伙子心里面那么的心情都是那么心情。
How nice it would be if all sentient beings were free from suffering and the causes of suffering. There is non-virtue. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. I will free all sentient beings from suffering and the causes of suffering. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
甚至这个汤是我的，也是我的，可是那不能，没让他不就他今天个是让他把这个上帝的不把那个没办，你这个我说了有的，让他把那个上帝了有的，但是呢，他就是上帝的不把那个，今天他把想那个讲就是谁个意思？
Next, we generate bodhicitta. First, we ask ourselves, who should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and of lower realms? I should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and of lower realms. Even though I should take on the responsibility, I do not have the abilities to do so now. Who has such abilities? Those who have achieved the perfectly complete enlightenment have the abilities to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, by all means, I will achieve the precious state of enlightenment.
你是就突击的上去恐怕都把小那个些工作问题，那个第一就那个第一就跟我说，那边那个接着去，那觉得你怎么都东北的那个些手机都去了，他们现在那个第一点都结搞嘛，这个那把接着就说那都是那个那这个时间。
Next, we generate all-encompassing yoga mind. The aspiring conventional bodhicitta that thinks, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. These transform into a perfect mundis at one's heart. And the ultimate bodhicitta, that is one's mind becoming in one taste with emptiness, the lack of inherent resistance. These transform into a white five-pronged vajra on top of the mundis.
也就是到看过的我们这个记得他的看到要么这个上一个这个多少年，看过的这个是多少意思。
Next, we meditate on emptiness for a short while. That I exist neither intrinsically one with, nor intrinsically different from that predates. Thus, I am empty of intrinsic existence.
我是告诉你，你小别在跟稍微的这个快递这个量的去生活给全部收上，他当不讲的，为什么因为我送的东西，就这里了，也少公司看，基本给基本告诉，他讲的，讲基本给在的，但现实界头就别外做的，别外的做，一切都把同一生这个方式要不就为了就对吧？呢，第一个是给在的是不信仰的是没认识。
As I always say, it's very important and beneficial to conjoin whatever roots of virtue that we perform through our three doors with the practice of six perfections. And in order to conjoin these roots of virtue of listening, contemplating, and meditating on the Dharma with the practice of six perfections, thus the first practice is generosity. The nature of generosity is an intention of giving. Thus, these roots of virtue of listening to, contemplating, and meditating on the Dharma is for the sake of purifying the suffering and achieving the happiness of sentient beings.
也就是最喜欢的我是半生的，这就是我什么东西。我在年少过是级别高是，我在领导跟年轻人吧，所以都方便安尼，年少过是结尾呢，也是结尾呢，别讲的第一个是别的的，这个不一样是为是。
Next is morality. Morality, the nature of morality is the minds of abandonment. When I listen to, contemplate, and meditate on the Dharma, I will abandon my physical and verbal negativities so that they do not manifest in these 2 hours.
他随个时候我就会什么事情，我什么东西，我年少过是级别高是，以前呢，等于的刚才搞这条嘛，呢，给统统的人谁都把你要什么呢？那第一个是年少过是级别，给这个谁把你要的是的是。
Next is patience. The nature of patience is an undisturbed mind. When I listen to, contemplate, and meditate on the Dharma, I will patiently accepting any physical or mental hardships that occur.
那第一就是真的是我的，我是给我特别真的是我什么拿心，我年少不是结果了，看到高的，这个真的真正是什么呢？第一个是给这的，真的是把你拿的是个的是。
Next is joyous effort. Joyous effort is a mind that takes delight in virtue. I will delightfully engage in the roots of virtue of listening to, contemplating, and meditating on the Dharma.
那第一就是上帝就我说的，是别人把搞了最基本的把上帝就我什么拿心， 没啥过这前面个是，现在难度的哪样的么着，你小娃子那个现在，要那个么呢？那第一个是给在的上帝去把你的是不是？
Next is meditative stabilization. The nature of meditative stabilization is a mind that single-pointedly focuses on any virtuous object. I will single-pointedly focus my mind on the virtuous object and do not get influenced by distractions and discursive thoughts.
我第一就是学了之后的话，学了封闭就是把的，学了之后我什么东西，那按照年少过自己的观点，记得在看里面细节嘛，那个要不去写多个情况呢？那第一个是给在的，这写了不行，那是个人是。
Next, last one is wisdom. Wisdom is an awareness that thoroughly distinguishes phenomena. I will unmistakably and correctly understand the words and meanings of the teachings that I listen to, contemplate, and meditate on.
第一就是在世界长期在的生意是不把的话，第一就是在全国完全的两年制度在世界的，这个都啥都是不要去接受。
Set a goal motivation. For the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. For this, I will listen to the commentary on the holy teachings, Lam Rim, and practice accordingly in order to benefit sentient beings.
哎呀，等于。也唱的这个是，我是一的这个大是我的，对吧？一的这个大那个这个就是有啊，懂不到的们，一个或者就，那个的大起嘛，还有人生的这个是吧？
The outline is the signs of possessing attention and eliminations of doubts. This has 2 points: the actual signs of possessing attention and the eliminations of doubts.
得懂得，然后学习已经通过的过去，起码说的可是呢，那已经的通过的数据，看到已经通过说的按照到后面，我们数据是的去看到，那训练就我去看到，你自己先把它透露过来，对吧？我训练就我去的，看到不会，那年度透的是那个，
训练就我去的，
年度去透露过来，我得去透露过来，他透露的，但是大脑的看到。你透露的，那为了用的看到的透露的，就你透过的，你是写不透过的，你是不落透过的，我就他妈的评论透过，是吧？
啊，咁先至落到，
我就不落透，评论透过，不是写不透过，不是写不透过，是有过的。这等待的人来说，是你透过大脑过的这些我都数据设计的线是吧？我是写不了看到的话，数据设计的线，那你写下，写下。在最起码，我得学过，你透露过来，他大脑就练不到，的也是他们就话。
So the first outline to talk about is the actual signs of possessing attention. Stravaga levels teaches the signs that indicate you or someone else has achieved attention. So attentions here refer to the preparatory stage of the first concentration. That is in the nature of abiding. So when we talk about this attention, so this attention is a preparatory stage of the first concentration or first dhyana that is in the nature of abiding. So when we attain these attentions at the same time, we achieve when we attain calm abiding, at the same time, we achieve the mind, the reason from meditations, and we achieve the consciousness that is included in the higher realm, and these three are achieved simultaneously. Achieving calm abiding, achieving achieving or attaining the consciousness that is included in the upper realm, and achieving the mind, a reason from contemplate. So these three are attained simultaneously. So through attaining that, a set of four is achieved in small measure. So this set of four refers to mind included in the form realm, physical pliancy, mental pliancy,
그리고 그래서 간다 신의 토바이나 시다나는 딜랑 되기 시다나는 딜랑서 가서 이제 발라가 봤던 그와 고마래 쉬와 고마래 쉬와 아 무슨 시다나는 딜랑이 봐 내빠네 수네 이게 수네 봐 창도가 림바다랑 지바 오늘 고마래 쉬와다 오늘 오마라 봤다 난 내빠라 봤다네 산도 오버라고 와 산에 들어보라 봤다네 산에 님바라 쉬와다 그래서 오늘 고마래 쉬와다 수네 가서 다 시간 만지지 나한테 신호가 나다 시간 만지지 나한테 근데 니는 벌써 보니까 인도에서 포인트인데 포인트가 니가 치워다 내 와요 그래서 나 기계를 타고 들어와 근데 또 어디 시간 만지지 나도 안다 미리 거기 시간 만지지 나한테 니가 또 와요 그래서 와 시간 만지지 나 다 돈이 만지지 나서 가서 다 인지도에 대비해서 시워와 근데 다 하고 시간 만지지 않고
이제 강고마디 이 시와디 타네 노몽기 응규데네 디파이기 바에 치와네
너무 따라 습관자 너무 좋아서 보아다 그냥 고마도 고마 일단 좀 무슨 거 보아야 그러고
오마기 노몽응규
내가 가서 싫어 아빠가 이제 아빠 제 통화 네 마음 그렇다고 딱 간다 제 통화다 네 마음 그때서 간다 고마리아 시와 되게 분도 무슨 근데 고마라 봤다 고마라 시와 두스다고 했다
dus jenene de 오마기 요몽 응응규 된조네 그러 Also, you are able to purify mental afflictions by means of peaceful and coarse path, or paths associated with aspects of the Four Noble Truths. So to talk about the first path, which is the paths of peaceful and coarse. So in other way of saying this is the paths of peacefulness and coarseness. So you are able to purify the mental afflictions by the mundane paths, which is the path of peacefulness and coarseness. So when you these paths of peacefulness and coarseness means that after achieving the calm abiding, then you look at the lower realms. You look at the coarseness of the lower realms, and you look at the peacefulness of the higher realms. So for example, if you want to achieve an upper realm from desire realm, then if you want to achieve the form realm, then you look at the coarseness of desire realms. So the coarseness of desire realms, for example, those sentient beings in desire realms have shorter lifespan, more sickness, and etc. So at the same time, you look at the peacefulness in higher realm or in upper realms. For example, there is no such coarse aspect in upper realm. For example, there is no short lifespan, or there is not many sickness. Those coarse aspect of upper realm. So by relying on this path, the path of coarseness and peacefulness, then one develop the ability to abandon those manifest afflictions in the lower realms. So similarly, if you want to achieve, so after you achieve the form realm already, after you are in the form realm, then you want to achieve the second dhyana or second concentrations. Then similarly, you look at the coarseness of the first concentration, and at the same time, you look at the peacefulness of second concentration or second dhyana. So by doing so, then one abandon the manifest afflictions that belongs to the lower realms. The lower realms, yeah.
Well, that one that you don't know, you know, that and that it was. But you don't know, you know, the show about a number in the world. Look on that. No, but she don't know, you know, nothing to take on that. Let's making it so you're 12 of the Jabala. When she needed to do, she needed to do the one. But what she covered. You bet you much I will.
我睇呢啲書件會是，
我數字嘅，數字嘅啫，我數字嘅就點解嘅出嚟嘅話，數字嗰啲啊，我講得我都，佢係嚟把錢嘅，佢講得，你做過啦，如果你，佢做唔到嘅，佢其他東西我係唔知我都，其實我做我都，你比你們就話做啲啊，我讓你去的，看看你可能本身經過的話，本身就的，我嘛啦，把我來學到的，然後呢，佢其他東西我係唔做的話，其他東西我做的。quand on va la comment les choix tani quindi un momento si a buona quindi quella invece che io invece ho tanti nel mio momento so buona come va il faccio io adesso faccio o ma che ho detto buona come mi si quella mi faccio io adesso
không thì không nói.
ok ma io quella poi momento come ya quindi bella 对了，那你过去要有联系，那我说哪地去哪地狼似的，我们这个狼给些新闻嘛，对吧？因此我是哪地狼，什么说嘛，给我一些新闻嘛。
Yeah, so these paths of peacefulness and coarseness is common to Buddhists and non-Buddhists. So by looking at the coarseness of lower realms and looking at the peacefulness of higher or upper realms, then one develops the ability to achieve higher realms. For example, the actual stage in the form realms or the actual state in the formless realms. So basically, if you want to progress further to higher realms, then you look at the coarseness of lower realms. And then you look at the peacefulness of higher realms or upper realms. So by doing so, then one achieves the highest state or the actual state in the higher realms. So then this is called the paths of peacefulness and coarseness. So even though we call these paths of peacefulness and coarseness, the paths here has no relation. It doesn't relate to. It is not related to the path of accumulation, the 5 paths that we talked about. So the path of accumulation, the path of preparation. So it doesn't relate to these 5 paths, or is not related to these 5 paths.
이게 뭐 달라서 맞기도 다 몸에 똑지 그런 너무 고야 싫어와 뭐 이건 너무 고야 그러나 뭐 말다 간다 그거 뭐 디비 나도 안다 로가 초도요 말 나는 로가 초 디비는지 이런 게 되요 뭐 디비는지 이런 거 되니 안다 너무 고야라 우리 고야라 스페시픽 되요 어디에 넘버 치고 그러와
And so by the paths having the aspects of coarseness, having the aspects of peacefulness, then they develop the ability to abandon the manifest afflictions of lower realms, and then they develop the ability to achieve achieve state in higher realms. So that is the paths of peacefulness and coarseness, or the paths having the aspects of peaceful and coarse. Yeah. Aspects of peacefulness and coarseness. So, and then the second path is paths associated with aspects of the 4 Noble Truths. Another way of saying this is paths having the aspects of truths. So these paths associated with aspects of the 4 Noble Truths refers to the 16 aspects of the 4 Noble Truths. So by the power, and this is common to non-Buddhists. So it means it's in the Buddhist context. So by the power of meditating on the 16 aspects of the 4 Noble Truths, they develop the ability to abandon afflictions, and by they develop the abilities to abandon afflictions. And those non-Buddhists, they are unable to direct their mind on this selflessness. Yeah, so non-Buddhists, they are unable to direct their mind to selflessness. So they are unable to abandon or proceed to higher states by these paths. And it's only exclusive to Buddhists. So, so if physical plans, so if one has achieved a calm abiding, then one can, whichever path you go through or you choose, then one develops the ability to purify mental afflictions.
Number Shabbat, whether can you tell her? Number can you want your dish down to water? Dish of the jibber. And the bottom of the jibber, you are. That depends on the pitching to Maris. Depends on the pitching to Maris, Loga to say. Depends on what thing to see each other. I do all a patch, but you can get those come. See that you are. See that you mean it, you are. See that you mean it, you are our chipola. Don't see that you mean it, little. Was a leash on the name, leash not about leash not in it, cover. Leash at the name in it, the water, you but they were not about me or leash the name. Leash not Chibala, leash the Soba, leash name in it, cable. With a trainer, not killed it. I can make you want to kill what would you worry. Not under the cause of see Shinja the Kiwala, see that you party. What the chief do the singing later. A singing in the because singing, say he just in later under the Gibalas material. Gibama give short people are more probable to what it is another Gio Dubala. And that she was on Kebarash. Well, the new duck and then answer the Pekino. Your Dubala party, she can reach it, will do it. Yes, so.
So physical and mental pliancy arise very quickly when the mind is in words voice. The five hindrances, aspiration for sensual pleasures, sleepiness, and so forth, have largely disappeared. So, so in order to develop mental pliancy, which obstructs us from developing mental pliancy is the negative tendency mental negative tendencies. So the mental negative tendencies, the main one are the five hindrances or five obscurations, such as aspiration for sensual pleasures and sleepiness. So in order to develop a mental pliancy, so we need to eliminate the obstacles to such development, which is the five obscurations. So similarly, when we want to develop physical pliancy, we need to eliminate the physical negative tendencies, such as the physical heaviness. So, and by removing or eliminating physical negative tendencies, one develops physical pliancy.
Nimuni 지루와 대가나 디마레 그래서와
계속
그래서 내가
계속으로 나고
그래서
그래서 이 교당 기호로
남부대 그거는 dimba체 네 nimuni 그게 지제 대세들와
이게 내심
대세 계속 나가들와 그래서 내가 간다 시시자 세 내가 이셔라 지도도 고도 홍화라 바티 되게 좋아지 처음에 네 걔가 좋아지 그래서 좋아
대신에 통내 이제 비치데
페이지를 깨도 말해서 말해서 다 간다 말했어
So the five hindrances, aspiration for sensual pleasures, sleepiness, and so forth, right? So to identify the five hindrances or five obscurations, they are excitement and regret, aspiration for sensual pleasure, as you can see in the text, sleepiness and lethargy. So sleepiness and lethargy is one. Doubt, number 4, doubt, and number 5 is malice or harmful intention. So these 5 obscurations, repeat, excitement and regret is one, started as one, aspiration for sensual pleasures, and sleepiness and lethargy counted as one, doubt and harmful intention or malice. So these are the 5 hindrances or 5 obscurations that obstruct us from developing mental pliancies. So by achieving calm abiding, then these 5 hindrances or 5 obscurations are unable to manifest themselves.
Oh, teacher, that kind of financial lambitia kind of lisi hijang. Ngari da demba de liyo de ni sa le sun ya du si da jiru ji song do wa. Mo tu nya ba sha de ga de yu ru wa. Si ya de wa yu ru wa. Ko nya ja le lambitia na ya. Ni si hija de wa ngari da dimri ese. Ni so ni sa le sun ya du si do wa yu ru shi.
And when you rise from equipoise, you are still imbued with some physical and mental pliancy. So Rinpoche quoted Shravaka levels as saying that such benefits if you achieve calm abiding. So when you are in meditative equipoise, then definitely you have after you have achieved the calm abiding. So when you are in the meditative equipoise, you have physical and mental pliancy. So when you rise from meditative equipoise, you are still imbued with some physical and mental pliancy.
那刚才一头呢，刚才心里大半句了，是是，是吧？那一头的呢，我的今天的最大部，多，可是呢，刚才一的头呢，大的这个一头呢，今天的我可能是给做了看的，结果呢，今天的要新鲜了，那不是最大部的啊，没套用了，那么多的哪也什么高啊，没高啊，那今天的头没那么多的哪也高啊，就被跟来看我学校了，第二往上抽的。那也我等着那个不别个弄，跟那个不休息了吧？那现在他这里到底是我的嘛，对吧？他也老不说的，我被打过去，我你有那些，那你喜欢的，他打不去吧
？So one's attention with these signs is achieved. So another way of saying this is once has achieved calm abiding with these signs, then it is easy for the path of shamatha to become pure. So meaning that if you have achieved calm abiding, then on the basis of calm abiding, then if you were to meditate on others, if you were to meditate on others' practices or engage in other practices by meditating on them, then it becomes easier and your meditation becomes of a better quality, and then it becomes easier to stop distractions and discursive thoughts.
那刚才给你的购物的，刚才设置几个给你了290，他的一个，刚才过了，刚才你新疆给你样样开了的，刚才你给了290，你的这是呀，历史上的3家样开的吧？那历史上的3家干这开吧呢？你现在也给他开的，是吧？那现在别的，你这几给我写个的，对，给我写不成，我是面上的人家东西，你知道吧？历史现象看的，实际上的朋友这个3现象都开了。但是3现象可能都心里头开着，啊，这个我是理性就不记得是我这些呢，你的心里，我心里就不记得是我这个习惯了，你的心里，心的，你心里对什么就弄你不一样嘛的，干嘛来的？你个娘不来的嘛是，我这个是习惯了。他讲的历史上的3现象开的都心里头好好开着，你的朋友的历史上的3现象好好开着。
米嘢話就我窿是唔是有啲米嘢話？
沒有啊，他們這是的，他們我的一個你不記曉的了，我說，他們這這些的股票呢，我記得我是就股票了，他們說的誰，問題是呢，對學校就弄得好了嘞我，這些學校就弄得搞完這邊的誰好了嘞我，他們這個是我說。
So after meditative equipoise of the mind in single-pointed shamatha, physical and mental pliancy can quickly be induced so that pliancy increases. Soraka levels explains that the more pliancy increases, the more shamatha also increases, whereby they mutually enhance each other. So here it talks about when one enters meditative equipoise, which your mind is in a single-pointedness. So then it can quickly induce physical and mental pliancies. So that pliancy increases. So it quickly induces physical and mental pliancies, so your pliancy increases. So the more pliancy increases, the more shamatha or calm abiding also increases. So whereby they mutually enhance each other. So when you are in the meditative voice, then you experience the physical pliancy. So and then it causes physical pliancy to increase. So because of this, then it induces a mental pliancy. So when mental pliancy increases, then it also causes your calm abiding to develop further or increases. So this also shows that the indivisibility of the wind and the mind. So when we talk about the indivisibility of the wind and mind, it means that when the wind is directed to a certain point, to a certain point, then the wind follows. Because when you direct your wind to a certain point, then your mind follows, because mind rides on the wind. So when you direct your wind, or when you direct your mind, then it goes together. So this wind and mind, it goes together because they are indivisible. The mind rides on wind. So when you increases your physical pliancy, then in turn your mental pliancy will increase, and in turn it causes your calm abiding to increase. So they mutually enhance each other. In brief, when the mind is supple, so supple in other words for this is serviceable. So when the mind is supple, or when the mind is serviceable, the wind becomes serviceable. So the wind also becomes serviceable or supple. So at that time, extraordinary physical pliancy occurs, and upon its occurrence, extraordinary concentration arises. Through that, again, an extraordinary suppleness of winds is accomplished. Extraordinary suppleness of winds or serviceability of winds is accomplished, whereby physical and mental pliancy is induced. So this summary shows that they mutually enhance each other. So when you increase when your mind becomes serviceable, then it also helps the winds to become more serviceable. Because of this, then it causes a physical pliancy to arise, and etc. Furthermore, Saraka level says to turn away from all the signs and to prevent distraction, focusing at the start, engage with no thought and without any meditation. So if one is well habituated with calm abiding, which one's mind is placed in single pointedness. So then it has such functions. So it talks about the functions of calm abiding. So the functions is when so all the signs. So signs, for example, the signs of those attractive signs, such as attractive sounds, attractive forms, and etc. So the functions of calm abiding is one turns away from all the signs, from all these attractive signs, and then it also prevents distractions. So this explains that when the outset the mind is placed in single pointedness, it is done so with no other thought and any other meditation whatsoever. When you have cultivated that according to Tsongkhapa levels, to progressively focus on single pointedness itself and on the mind's internal shamatha. So through that, place your mind in just this way on the mind stream and on the entire continuity of the mind, becoming free from signs, free from conceptualization, and absolutely calm. Again, this talks about the functions of calm abiding. So ini di jemba meba ini di masamba kiki cara. Ini di ila maceba. Ila maceba ini di jesu doa. So here he talks about with no other thoughts or any other meditations, right? So no other thoughts also mean that not thinking about it. So yeah, not thinking about it, and any other meditations meaning do not pursue those thoughts. So as you can see here in this paragraph, when you have achieved the mind of shamatha in that manner, if signs and conceptualization arise. So conceptualization, another word for this is discursive thoughts. So if signs and discursive thoughts arise because of forgetfulness and unfamiliarity, if appearances arise because of secondary mental afflictions, or if holes start showing. So holes start showing means that they are about to they are arising. So they are about to arise or they are arising, and they become your object. Then, because you have already seen their faults, do not pursue thoughts about such occurrences, nor attend to them. So this is what it means by no other thoughts or any other meditation. So you do not pursue that thought, you do not follow that thoughts, and do not attend to them. Do not think about it, do not attend to those thoughts.
Poi mi battini la se, io va, il cavallo, se no mi porta passava, no?
No one may ba, no one yela, any desires. This said in Yambasha. So in this way, with no thoughts about them and no attending to them, these objects completely disintegrate, disintegrate and eliminate. And when they have been completely eliminated, the mind is placed on the very absence of appearances. So the mind is placed in the meditative equipoise with the absence of these appearances.
Mi potete trovare poco in vicino che dopo c'è un timbale cavo, devo tenere c'è un restare due.
So this object is subtle and hard to comprehend. Therefore, aspire and make a strong effort in order to comprehend it.
That's not the whole much city because the second city the majority of the under but in the city you do. Even the second city la. Ni che va in gita, ma te tamba za. The whole the mare di ci do. Ni mare do.
Di ci.
Ne sa ma so di. Ne kan kan da city gita. City gita ni chema mo na tamba to ba ni ba ni wa shi wa ji wa. Da sente ba ci shi de do. O de shi ma so ko ba di ci do.
So then Jeremiah explained the quotations from Soraka levels. So here's the explanations by Jeremiah. So that section up to absolutely come. So here it refers to progressively focus, etc. to this point and absolutely come. So it refers to this paragraph. The explanations here.
Te kanda ni sa chi chi shi le gorwa me pa sha de so da de da di kanda yin chi chi da ni tu ja kanda de la gong ba chen mo me ba so la ti ni so la chen mo da no su ju na e de da gong wa do su ni mi chen ba shi ne de da ji so mo da wa da ro ya ma sa ba do ne se da de le ba mo ba shi ya ta
na ni ba de shi ge na
ni ba so de ni ba sha de ro ele me pa sha de shi ba ni ji ro
bu de de shi ga
da bu shi ta yi ba
this is the Yantima Sumbo. What's the Tima maybe? Yeah, so the sections up to absolutely come, referring to this paragraph, right? Then it says, so shows how freedom from science, freedom from conceptualization and absolutely come arise gradually from maintaining the meditation as before. So he talks about free from science, free from conceptualization, and absolutely come, right? So it shows that this free from science, free from conceptualization, and absolutely come arise gradually from maintaining the meditation as before. Then the section up to do not pursue thoughts about such occurrences. So it refers to the second paragraph. So when you have achieved the mind, etc., up to such occurrences, nor attend to them. So here it talks about, it explains that whenever signs and so forth appear in the mind, when shamatha has been accomplished, but there is no great familiarity with it and so forth, you should remember the faults of the mind coming under their power, not pursue them, and place the mind without thinking of anything. So once you have achieved calm abiding, and but if you do not have great familiarity with calm abiding, then you should remember the faults of the mind and not pursue them, nor place the mind. Not pursue them, and then you should place your mind without thinking of anything. So if one has already achieved the calm abiding and because of forgetfulness and unfamiliarity, so unfamiliarity refers to not habituated with the calm abiding that you have already achieved. So then signs, so such signs such as those attractive signs that I mentioned just now, attractive form, attractive sound, and etc. So they will appear. So when they appear, then what you should do is you remember the faults of the mind coming under their power, such as attachment to those attractive signs, then do not pursue them, and then place your mind without thinking about it. So then the section up to absence of appearances. So you refer to the third paragraph. So in this way, with no thoughts about them and etc., then up to this very absence of appearances. So this section up to this point explains that through familiarizing yourself in this manner, so through familiarizing yourself in this manner, meaning familiarizing yourself with enlightenment. So whichever of the three signs, so three signs refer to the freedom of so whichever of the three signs, so refer to the freedom from signs, freedom from conceptualizations and absolute. So whichever of the three signs and so forth arises, then through the force of familiarity with relinquishing all thoughts about them, it will subside by itself, independently of deliberately focusing the mind. So meaning that through the force of familiarity, then do not think about those signs, then they will subside by themselves. So independently of deliberately focusing the mind means that, let's say you do not have to purposely, let's say focus your mind on that. So you just, through the power of familiarity and not thinking about them, not pursuing them, and they will subside by themselves. So this section explains that thereafter you invite the non-appearance of the three, and you are not carried away by that. So the remainder of the passage. So remainder of the passage refers to the last paragraph, last sentence. So this object is subtle and hard to comprehend. Then the remainder of the passage points out that this shamatha is subtle and that explanations of it are difficult to comprehend. So in this, so here it talks about, again, it talks about do not turn your mind to those signs. So do not turn your minds towards those signs. In other words, saying this is turn away from those signs. So in this regard, the signs are explained as 10 signs of the 5 objects: form, sound, smell, taste, and all objects. In other words, objects of touch, of the signs of the 3 poisons, and the signs of male and female. As for the manner in which they vanish, so talking about the manner in which they vanish, the manner of vanishing. So first, multiplicity of signs of forms and so forth appear, and as soon as they appear, they subside by themselves and are purified. So you do not think about them, and then do not attend to them. So you do not follow after those thoughts. Then they will subside by themselves and are purified. Then finally, when you settle in meditative equipoise, the signs of forms, sounds, and so forth do not appear. And the only things that appear are the mind, which is aware and clear, and vibrant happiness. So the only things that appear is the mind, which is aware and clear, right? So in other way of saying this is clear and knowing, and with a vibrant or intense happiness. Kare yapo samutang wai na. And these paragraphs talks about if one develops a good quality of karma, if one's karma abiding is stable and the single pointedness is stable, then the benefits for the and its function is it's like this. Then as explained in this paragraph.
Maybe they job, Chivina, Chivina, Chubus, the mother, Chima Jintia, Marisua, Chubus, the Jintia, Yamar, Chubunajita, Chumaris, not only Chumaris, Chubus, when you from and never come sugar, and the problem never come with this, the war. Not by Hiluris. You see, we are with you want me to go in. You want no idea. Little cover my inbox. Yamata, Shiba, Papa, Shiba in the water. Shiba, you by here. But you by here. Tim is about I didn't know yes. I did the part. What there was a marina charge with the essay. But you didn't know.
So then the following is how conceptual thoughts disappear, which is one of the benefits or the functions of karma abiding. So to talk about how conceptual thoughts disappear. So as you place your mind as before, without recollecting them and without attending to them. So not without recollecting them, do not think about them, and then do not think about the conceptual thoughts. And then without attending to them, it also means that you do not attend to those conceptual thoughts, or you do not pursue those conceptual thoughts. Not thinking about them or not recollecting them, and then without attending to them. Another way of saying this is do not pursue those conceptual thoughts. When conceptual thoughts that arise do not proliferate greatly or compound, they subside naturally like bubbles emerging from water one after another. So bubbles emerge from the water, then it doesn't last, and then it quickly, quickly disappeared or burst. So then if you do not, so without thinking about those conceptual thoughts and do not attending to those conceptual thoughts, those conceptual thoughts that arise, they do not last. They do not last, or they do not continue to exist. So they do not last, or they do not continue to exist, and then they will subside naturally. Then through maintaining the meditation as explained above, your experiential awareness and the sense of bliss without being stopped deliberately, but just unable to withstand. Just unable to withstand the focus, again subside by themselves and are purified as soon as they arise, like the shedding of old skin. Bliss and experiential awareness become more subtle. 呢啲其實啲啲米水吧，啲米水嘛成日啲係。Shiba Pipachidro, Shiba Pipachid, Piemazeva, Shido. Yeah, so without being stopped deliberately, but just unable to withstand the focus, again subside by themselves and are purified as soon as they arise. So here refers to the conceptual thoughts. So they need not be stopped deliberately, and then they are unable to last, and then they will subside by themselves.
What did you know? You know, now I said that you took the Chiba machine, the Shiva, Naji, so the Chiba.
So, and then from this point onwards, it talks about the difference between meditative equipoise and subsequent attainment, post meditation. So at that time, when you are in meditative equipoise, you will have no awareness of your own body, and you will feel as if your mind has become indistinguishable from space. So when one is in meditative equipoise on the objects of observation, such as Buddha's image, then your mind and the objects of observations are like pouring water into the water. So they become your concentration is like this. So it's as if pouring water into water. So your mind is single pointedness on the objects of observation. So at that point of time, then you will feel as if your mind has become indistinguishable from space. When you are in meditative equipoise, your mind has become indistinguishable from space, right? So space also means that it was free of objects, is empty, free of objects. So meaning that when you're in meditative equipoise, nothing else such as a beautiful form, attractive sound, and etc., they do not appear to your mind. Right? And again, when you are in meditative equipoise, you will have no awareness of your own body. So it means that you do not, you are not aware of your own body. So you do not think that, there is no such thought as I have a body. So then when you rise from these meditations, then you will feel as if your body has suddenly appeared. So this contrasts to what you feel in your meditative equipoise, right? So at that point of time, when you have no awareness of your own body, so you feel that as if you do not have you do not have the concept of having a body. So when you rise from this meditation, then you will feel as if your body has suddenly appeared. Oh, So when you are in meditative equipoise, because your mind and the objects because it becomes as if you're indistinguishable. So when you are in meditative equipoise, those forms such as your body, your sound, sound, smell, taste, and etc., they do not appear. So they do not appear, and then you are not aware of them as well. So then when you rise from your meditation, so when you are in post meditation period, then you see those forms, right? You don't see those forms, you experience those smell, feeling, and etc. Then you feel as if those things suddenly appear. So when you rise from these meditations means that you are in the post-meditative period. So afterwards, even afflicted conceptual thoughts of hatred and the like that arise are different from before or originally. So when you are in post-meditation periods, then these afflicted conceptual thoughts, afflictions such as hatred, pride, and etc., or the attachment to delicious food, for example, will still arise. So because you haven't abandoned them yet, right? It's just that they do not arise in meditative viewpoints. However, when you are in post-meditation period, when these afflicted conceptual thoughts of hatred and the like, since you have not abandoned it, they will arise. So, however, even though they arise, they are not they are different from before originally. So before you achieve calm abiding, for example, your hatred or your three poisons that can be very strong, and they last for a long time. And however, after achieving calm abiding, then they are weak. So they are different from before. So then they become weaker, and they are unable to last for a long time.
Oh, delicious. What do you tell about that? She needs to make the Tobaina in this, in the city, Shanghai. Sanam Chimuchi, yes, that you know, say not Chimu, see such a young Chimuchi. That should be your reason, such a thing I should be your reason, or this should be your reason, nothing much you are.
Yeah. So then this paragraph talks about one will have the great experience of clarity.
That's just not Hajjan Jumbo, so Jumbo is another picking of your know. You want to move. Oh, that's such a natural. You know, that I was Jumbo the Jumbo. Did the baby put Jumbo? Jumbo. The machine, I give it. Now, I should be taken on that. Oh, a lega hard woman, which is 200 Miss Water. Lega Carrigo, I can't commit what are the kitchen get out of the But the day, you know, she, the mission is since such a day. How much you would give a Philippine? Tiba, not so Sapa about it. Single women. Manu Katsi women, or Katsi women. Some of the pet, several chat about the big young one in the years old. Say such a young day. What they told it, Canada Dishi, so I live here. So what? That the travel candy, Rapa candy, Kiban jetting. I want to cut it away in a combat Mujina, Philippe, Saba Kazi, or Kazi Melanza, no to Yomara. But that indeed, sing such a young chum with the liberty.
So these periods are periods of what is called complete pacification. The experience of clarity is great. So this great experience of clarity. So how say, and you feel you can count the minute particles of pillars and walls of a house. So when one's experience this clarity, then in very in conventional terms, then we say that this person becomes very smart, becomes very clever. How say, for example, it depends on how the person speaks, talks, moves about. Then, I say this person is smart enough or clever enough to tell how the character of these characteristics, or the character of this person's, how this person is, and etc. So you can tell by seeing the persons, then they can tell the character of that person, for example. So as then you will feel you feel you can count the minute particles of pillars and walls of a house. So meaning that the person is smart enough or clever enough to tell how many pillars is needed for this house and how many walls in this house. And then even if this person were to count the minute particles or the subtle particles of pillars and walls of a house, and they are able to they are able to count the force and the subtle particles of pillars and walls. Kadang ini dicuba di leyo na ya na di nguni di cetu ba. Yang di kasa di tamu dabo ina di engkawa di tamu ina di kakak di nyuba di yore. Si cuba cuba cemaro. Nguni nyuba di yoro. Cuba di yoba tang. Lalu cuba. Lalu ini dia cuba cemain ba. Ini dia nguni cetu baro. So when you have this great experience of clarity, then you feel you can count the minute particles, right? So not only that you feel you can, but you can actually count you have the ability to count the minute particles of pillars and walls of a house. Then because of the infant's ability, when it is time to sleep, your sleep is unlike it was before to achieve concentration. It seems mixed with concentration, and you have many pure dreams, appearances, and the like. So again, when once one has achieved calm abiding, then one can combine one's sleep with concentration. So before one achieved calm abiding, one sleep is just ordinarily. Then, however, once you have achieved calm abiding, then it seems here it says it seems mixed with concentration, right? So not only it seems or you feel, you have the ability to combine your sleep with concentration. So, and you have many pure dreams, appearances, and the like. So this says that once have this is great experience of clarity, once have achieved calm abiding in general, then one will have many pure dreams appearances. So pure dream appearances means that not only in your dreams then you have this pure appearance. Not only in your dreams that you have these pure appearances. In reality, when you wake up, then some think your dreams actually appears in in reality. That means that you develop certain clairvoyances to see things in the future in your dreams, to see future events in your dream.
Lama Demba Mahi Demba Mahi Na Chi Nila Demba Bima Hirua. Nila Tarema, Demba Venice Paris, rather than Nigas Mila in a bed, not Abu Reservoir. Some Matapa Mibarua, very certainly, Mount Junju, the Suso, Lega Inanda, Suso Pina, Andila Pen, up over Inanda, Andina Lega Shao Cardina, Eddie. Nila, she did, Demba to be Mamma Reservoir.
So you have many pure dreams appearances and the like, right? It doesn't mean that all your dreams are pure dream appearance. All your dreams have pure dream appearances. It doesn't mean that. It means that you have many, but it doesn't mean that all your dreams have pure dream appearances. So in conventional terms, when we say that, or don't, stop dreaming. So means that, what you think or what you think is not true, right? Or is not possible in reality. So, however, if you have developed when you have achieved calm abiding, then at that point, then some of your dreams or many of your dreams have pure dream appearances, meaning not only that you dream about it and it actually happens in reality. Such as your realizations, development of realizations, or some works that you are that you will do in the future. Then you you dream about it before it happens.
That is my thought. That
I think it is at the end of the yeah. So next outline is the eliminations of doubts. Someone might ask when the kinds of concentration explained above is achieved. So the kind of concentration explained above refers to calm abiding or samatha. So where does it fall in the context of the 5 paths? So where is it in terms of 5 paths? So this from here, so someone might ask from here, then up to this point, then is the doubt, right? Then the following words are the eliminations of doubts, eliminations of doubts. So if it is the concentration explained above, that is cultivated after the view of selflessness has been unmistakably ascertained and the mind has been placed within that view, it can fall within a path of liberation of ordinary beings. So if calm abiding, the concentration or calm abiding, cultivated after the view of selflessness has been unmistakably ascertained, and the mind is placed in that view, then it falls in the path of liberation of ordinary beings.
이나 다 예살에 배 수냐 루세월 상대 당비 뱅이 주빈 아주 상대 당비 니 주빈 지라나나 안 담비 니 도발다 간다 담비 대고가 이거 말와
상대 담비
뱅이라서 도발 담비 대고 니 바구야 이거 말와 담비 그거서 다 상대 담비 니 주빈 지라나지 아무 너무 지가 타이 비빌라나다 니 들라티네 니 들라티네 가다 두네 에서 와 니 들라티네 안다 상대 징이 주빈 지라나지 나지와 지라나지 나데 지디 빌라데 니 신이 들라티네 두네 에서 어디다 두게데 만다 가서 신나니가 레고 싫어게 당소 싫어 발라서 받든지 지하면 ben치가 가서 주다 주면서 받든지 녀모 같이 꼬야라 뭐죠 꼬야라 근데 기능 들라티네 간다 이 들라티네 뜨간다 보고 그래서 이렇게 신고로
너무 뽕하다.
와 뭐야
신이 시작을 되네.
그래서 신이 들었다 때문에 신뢰를 갖고 완전 때문에 시
So, however, if it is not a meditation like that, so meaning, if it's not a meditation like that, means that it's a pure, meditations of pure calm abiding, or you can say, yeah, meditations of pure calm abiding means that it's not conjoined or cultivated after the view of selflessness. So, if it is a meditation like that, a pure calm abiding, then Sravaka level says that this concentration can also cause the accomplishments of even mundane paths that view peaceful and coarse aspects to accomplish the actual first dhyana. So in order to accomplish the actual first dhyana or the actual first concentration, then this concentration referring to calm abiding. So calm abiding is the foundation on which one develops the mundane paths that views peaceful and coarse aspects, as I mentioned just now, the peacefulness and coarseness. So that so this concentration upon which is a foundation upon which one accomplish the mundane paths that views peaceful and coarse aspects, and in turn accomplish the actual first concentration. So in order to accomplish the actual first concentration, you need to depend on the mundane paths that views the peaceful and coarse aspect, or the supramundane path that has aspects of 16 aspects, that has the bearing the 16 aspects, the Four Noble Truths as mentioned just now. So you can accomplish by these paths. So in whichever paths, then you need to depend on this concentration, calm abiding, as the foundation. So then here, from this point onwards, it talks about when it is conjoined with any of the three principal aspects of the path, it becomes a path to liberation.
So, that another Julia Gansna, that damage she Malava to be Tawa, Tawara, damage to be she, damage she Malava to be Tawa, Sipa Padala Kanda, she never only don't call you, how about anything in this non business? Another Julia Kanda. That is Wilma, about anything in you, some big sinner. That is Kanda, Simba in a take on the talent. That I'm too much here.
Sorry, I mentioned.
What the Chinese is in to be not
Sorry, I mark wrongly. So it's from here. Furthermore, it becomes a path of liberation. from here, then it talks about if it is a concentration conjoined with any of the three principal aspects of the path, then it becomes a path of liberation, not here. So furthermore, it becomes a path of liberation if it is conjoined with detachment from cyclic existence. So detachment from cyclic existence, in other words, for this is renunciation. So renunciation from cyclic existence, owing to the view that realizes selflessness without error, and to a realization of the thoughts of existence, the thoughts of cyclic existence. And if it is conjoined with an attitude of revulsion that strives for liberation. And if it is conjoined with bodhicitta, it even becomes a Mahayana path. So if the concentration is conjoined with renunciation, bodhicitta, and the view, then it becomes a path of liberation, or it becomes a Mahayana path.
Oh, do not shut up, Pesha, when I'm on the business in a Duty. And I'm Sinkachi Shimbata. Do not Sinkachi Shimbata. Sitting not just on somebody, Sina, but a Taba country logic. To do what he has said. Also, Naji to so she will. Lola Sinkachi, they say that he the law. He did the Timothy Thomas, you couldn't have the Lola Sinkachi give a Chinese singing on each other. Maybe Sheila Bay, he did to have to go my money to go. And this seems to be a kind of or because of what I so we simply trade on. You think trade on to them see that keep dinner and you just seems to be the kind. Yes, I'm not about what a funny but really top of the you are each other, the Lord is got you by now. I can't sense to get a child. Here, keep a kick on Nimbala, and go Saint-Jeji, Nimbala. Up there, and you particular Halos. You particular. We are a Saint John G. Ranchua, a Kiana, and you Babes Kahalos.
So if it is conjoined with bodhicitta, it even becomes a Mahayana path. Likewise, for example, if the generosity of giving a morsel of food to an animal and guarding of even one kind of ethics is conjoined with attitudes that become accumulations respectively of the paths of liberation and omniscience. So it talks about the motivations. So if one is out of a motivations to benefit others, then if you conjoin these, if you have a motivations that you want to benefit others, you want to help others. So out of this motivation, you give a small amount of food to other sentient beings or to an animal, for example, then that action becomes a root of virtue that is conjoined with bodhicitta, and because of which it becomes more powerful. So another person, or in another scenario, if one gives food, a small amount of food, it feels exactly the same. Out of the motivations that also you want to achieve your personal liberations, or you want to experience personal happiness. So if you give food to others out of such motivations, then that actions does not become a root of virtue that is conjoined with bodhicitta, and because of which then that actions become less powerful.
Oh, the Chiba did you no, Kanda, when Sinkachi Sona, somebody Sina, the Lola Sinkachi Shimba, that's sitting like Sona, sitting like Sona, the biggest somebody Simbaina, very technology, where it's all yes, but they are the sort of Chimbasana, yes, otherwise.
Ini kontak lain di control lain di ala di dewa ina di dalam di so di cari ini masa tu sutim di naji di semua ina ini di tadi kebe so di cari
so jual boleh jual terus那做上了我的刚才别在地看了我的也是我
di dalam di so cari di ini di tadi kebe so di cari mana deh ya kalau tunggu jila kalau nyuruh dewa ina
这里我是这样的路了啊那这里这里嘛我是经常去的话应该都是也是是吧路了是别的我的刚才他把出来的你给他看了我的那自己说的我就自己都掉的现在情况可能我都他把出来的要买是吧自己都掉的那对于这里都是路的也是看到了我的吧
So these explanations is a general explanations that if the generosity of giving a morsel of food to an animal is conjoined with that attitude, it becomes accumulations of paths of liberations, right? Then again, in a general context, lighting of even one kinds of ethics is conjoined with that attitudes, then it becomes accumulations of the path of omniscience. So this is in a general context. It doesn't mean that generosity of giving a morsel of food to an animal, it doesn't becomes an accumulations path to omniscience. It also becomes a path to omniscience as well. So similarly, starting of even one kinds of ethics, then here in the general context, it says it becomes an accumulations of path to omniscience, right? So again, if one doesn't even guard one kind of ethics, then there's no way one can achieve liberations. So this is explanations in a general context. However, here, what is being analyzed is not whether it becomes a path of liberation or omniscience when conjoined with another factor of the path. Rather, what is being analyzed here is which path it becomes by that concentration's nature. So it doesn't talk about, now we are not talking about when this concentration is conjoined with another, conjoined with the three principal aspects of path, then it becomes a path of liberation or omniscience. So we are not talking about it here. So rather, we are talking about concentration itself, by nature, which path it becomes. So we're talking about this concentration itself. So by nature, so which path it becomes. Yeah. So whether it becomes a path of liberations or not. Yeah. So according to Gesabje, according to Gesabje's, in order to achieve the path of Mahayana path of accumulations, one must attain abiding. So this is according to Gesabje's explanations that in order to achieve Mahayana path of accumulation, one must attain abiding. However, some assert otherwise. So they do not assert that one must attain abiding in order to attain Mahayana of accumulation. Yeah, the 요래 얘네 되 인고 말어. Yeah. So in terms, come abiding by nature, it can becomes path of liberation. It can becomes a path of accumulation, but it's not necessarily so because because this concentrate come abiding is common to non-Buddhists as well. So for example, by nature it can becomes a path of accumulations, right? However, it's not necessarily so because it's common to non-Buddhists as well.
다들 얼마나 가진다 다 대사 모두 돈이 돈이 그거 니시버려 다들 그거 대사 모두 버려 그거 대사 모두 봐 나라 그거 돈이 그거 니시버려 그래서 다들 니시버려
Thế nào trên mấy bài đó. Yeah. So next, here from this point onward, then it talks about whether it is a meditations on emptiness. Sorry. Yeah. So if it is a concentration with happiness, with clarity, and with non-conceptualization, then does it become meditations on emptiness or not? So here it talks about the difference between these two.
다들 간다 개발에 받아 일을 메시비 고라 뇌 마치 받은 지미도 미다비 미다바 미와 미다바 다 간다 대사 모두 받으라 된다 도도 되래 다 된다 대사 모두 받으라 아니야 나가 샤비 돈이지 고 인자 니네 대사 모두 받으라 가서 다 돈이 고 대사 모두 받이 그냥 봐 요마레스 근데 니 요구레스 와 아니 요래 받아 돈이 그 대사 모두 비치다 아니라 다른 노가 마시고 계속 모두 비 해서 와 그래서 신나 이거 주모선다 우리 노가 마시고 계속 모두 뭐요 그래서
대신 미도 봤어야 되는 가서 시내를
뭐 신내로 와서 좋아 내가 가다 내가 누가 쇼바지다 아니야 우리 마셔봐 아니야 그래서 와 칸이 내가 이나 가서 신나 주모선다 타고요 말이야 걔가 가서 계속 모두 받으라 내들라 예뻐도 돈이 로가 쇼보여나 집어다 뭐 하는 거 좋아 어 집어도 팀워 차야 돼 그래서 돈이 로가 뭐 쇼비 그래서 모두 이런 예스 지워선다 다시는 내가 팀워 쳐요로 와
So we talk about whether this has a bliss, clarity, and non-discursiveness. Yeah. So whether this bliss bliss, clarity, and non-discursiveness is a meditation on emptiness or not. So then what does this bliss, clarity, and non-discursiveness refer to? It refers to come abiding. So another word for come abiding. So bliss, clarity, and non-discursiveness refers to come abiding. So whether come abiding is a meditation on emptiness or not. So this is here it draws the differences. Here it draws the differences. So the states of meditation free of thoughts and mentation, then referred to as unfabricated by the mind and subjectless and endowed with bliss, clarity, and non-discursiveness, are of two types. One that is a genuine emptiness meditation with the mind in equipoise on the meaning of suchness, and one that is not. So means that when we talk about come abiding, then come abiding can be is of two types: come abiding meditating on emptiness, and a come abiding not meditating on emptiness. So because of having these, both are still come abiding. Yeah, whether one is meditating on emptiness, another one doesn't meditate on emptiness. So because of having these two divisions of come abiding, therefore we say that it is common to come abiding is common to non-Buddhists as well. So otherwise, if you say that come abiding must be a come abiding meditating on emptiness, then this come abiding would not be common to non-Buddhists anymore.
와 와라 티치 못 찾아 봐 어때 비서자 그거나 되려 와 간다 딜라 나도 다시게 간다 대사 못 얻을라 내가 돈이 또 예. 대사 못 얻지 인구에서 니 이거래 딘디 말해서 와 돈이 못 얻을 이유를 해서 와 하여튼 제발 내가 쉐고 해서
So therefore, it is extremely important to differentiate them well, or otherwise you put yourself at great risk of mistakenly believing that you have had realizations of suchness when you have not. So because some people claim that if it is a come abiding, it must be a come abiding meditating on or realizing emptiness. However, it is not necessarily so. So because they are a come abiding, not realizing or not meditating on emptiness. So it is, very important because it is important. Come abiding, is important in Sutra and it is important in Tantra as well. It is important to Buddhists and it is important to non-Buddhists as well. So, and on top of that, come abiding is important in terms of in the tantric practice. So without come abiding, even though one engaged in tantric practice, one will not develop realizations of completion stage in tantric context in one's mind, in one's continuum. So I will stop here. If you have any question. So if no questions, then I will stop here.
Ken, I have a question because just now your voice was muffled. I couldn't hear. At the beginning of the elimination of doubts, someone might ask, when the kind of concentration explained above is achieved, where does it fall in the context of the 5 paths? I thought I heard you say path of preparation. Am I correct?
Oh, preparation.
Because your voice was muffled, cannot hear well throughout.
Là đến như vậy thì tổ chức rồi, Ini tengah sih beting engine dia Java dia thona, ni kia kicu di, ni ba, so. Ini tengah sih beting engine dia Java dia thona, Lam Rim kapsu, Lim ngai kapsu, ini di kandu joyam na, ini di jolam di siaga na, jolam di joy res. Mari di tengah sih beting engine dia Java lah. Ini bentuk sana, ini di Lama kapsu, ini di kawala juaris. Kandu juaris. Lain ada kawala juaris.
Bashi doa. Dalam itu tahu sinci malu bah. Ini tahu tu jangan itu. Ini di ni na. Suci tanah tu, suci kaji tanah tu tu ni. Jauh ni macam. Suci kaji tanah tu ni.
Jadi ni tiang colam jolam penglam demisi di siapa ya?
Bisa. Dua siapa mari sini korang. Sini korang tu di sini lah cepat cepat lain bah.
Ini di kata lamga nanglo lah demisi kandu
Saya
jolam.
mah. Ini kado orang kaya mah.
Kaya mai.
Sih.
Also, lain nanti kata.
Lain lagi di kani wah.
Also, ini jangan obat yang lamga ke. Itu sendiri orang. Lain dia mesti di kata lamga di jual di. Dia kemarwa. Also, di cibo ini di kemarwa je. Lamga yang kapsul.
Awalnya jangan syagri ya sebab. Awalnya jangan syagri dapat ni aja. Ini jadi. Kita tensi ni malu bah ni. Ini jiwa ina. Suci kan kalau ada jodoh beri. Dua ni ya sebab. Dua ni kerja. Anda mai bah. Kita anda ini tahu ni kau ina na. Jadi mana sama mana. Mereka cerita wala. Sama tu mereka sini jangan ini bah ina. Sama kami age tu be. Kita ni nampak. Ini nanti nanti tu be. Mereka kita cerita ni ya sebab. 在想我也是吧，你来给你也是看看，想看看。
dan so gi lam thalam di jwa ro wa ji sai ni mix ki lam na ye yang cholam cholam thong lam gom lam da milo lam di tang long ji ma wa
这个社会嘛，那说这个，那是干什么的？他说这个，他们啊，都从那是干什么？你们也是，也是我，
cholam
那这干嘛？从哪讲的吧？从哪你的哪讲？
cholam jolam ba so e cholam nang jolam
托谁个嘛的？
e do jwa ro wa ye na
应该是，
de
你把那
thok yo ma. And so when we say how say this kind of concentration is the calm abiding, right, is achieved, where does it fall in the context of 5 paths? Then the answers here it says if it is a concentration explained above that is cultivated after the view has been mistakenly ascertained and the mind has been placed within that view, it can fall within a path of liberation of ordinary beings. So it can fall within a path of liberation of ordinary beings. It refers to path of accumulation and path of preparation. So it can be seated or it can be fall within path of liberation of ordinary beings. So it doesn't mean when it says it can fall or it can be posited within a path of liberation of ordinary beings, the path of accumulation and path of preparation, it doesn't mean that that ordinary being has already achieved the path of accumulation and path of preparation.
Thank you. You stop here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I ask one more questions?
Yeah. Xiao. Yes.
Okay. Okay. When we want to achieve calm abiding, we have an object of meditation, say for example Buddha image. So during this stage, from until we achieve the calm abiding, we will be having this same object of meditations. But when we achieve the calm abiding, then it seems like we can change the object of meditation to like emptiness or something like that. Am I right on this point? Yeah. Thank you.
其实啦，就点di sini ko wala so di mi ba ji tang wala nya ro ini tian sini ma to pa tu ini di mi ba ji bo ja ji bo ka sa di ji bo ga yo ma ro ini tian pa ji ji cha ro ini di sini thok cha ne mi ba de ang bo pe na sha sha na so di tang bo de tem bi ku de tam che sini thok cha re sini thok cha ne mi ba de ju wa tang na di yo na pe na cha ni na dong ba ni na
那小图也是，
sini thok cha ne
他那对呀嘛，这不是说搞来对了，然后说心里头呢，如果去过去有的时候，那个就是的话，就在那这些搞来对不了，他并不认识，是可能对不了，你可能嘛是如果去，我用中完了，你过来对吧？他们要发的是，那么就是这个。
Yeah, you are right. So until you choose calm abiding, so your chosen objects of observations, then for example, Buddha's image, then, so you use the same objects of observation until you achieve calm abiding. After achieving calm abiding, then you can change your objects of observation to any other objects, for example, emptiness, as you mentioned just now. And so after you achieve calm abiding, then your mind, I'll say focusing on the objects become more powerful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
我是比这我的来这里7点8点的多的，我说讲我就没去过这边的经济到我啥地方，点把人这把人小伙子接把他，他本来家那么18个人，什么这把人东西要先证明，他都跟我定我这什么学什么的，那等等堂里都跟他帮助嘛，不行，我说他帮助就是把你那个对呀，把洗地有的，那你往洗没办法有，他把洗地有，我在等这个边给他把这个玩意说的。
Yeah, we conclude with dedication. We dedicate the roots of virtue to the flourishing of Buddha Dharma and also to the excellent happiness of all sentient beings. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to all upholders of Buddha's teaching, mainly His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, to live eons long with excellent health conditions. And may all their holy wishes and enlightened activities be accomplished instantaneously and be spread in all 10 directions. And we specifically dedicate these roots of virtue to our beloved Sri Lama Machi. May Machi's holy wishes be accomplished accomplish instantaneously, and may the unmistaken reincarnations of Rinpoche be swiftly returned, and continue to turn the wheel of Dharma for the sake of teachings and sentient beings, so that we will have the opportunity to receive the precious teachings from you again, Rinpoche. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to the world peace. May excellent happiness prevail in the world. May wars and conflicts that happens, in countries, between countries, be pacified, and pandemic, or disaster, a natural disaster, be pacified immediately. Maya Kote Kondo Pewa Shuo Tawa Rinpoche Magi Bana Kishu Deche Banyamba Maya Kote Kondo Pewa Shuo Inje Sundu Jubela Chiche Sise Kanchin Kishu Shana Pemo Tinte Jato Laso Wa Tesu Shendele Shuo Shuo Nide Kandu Tinte Mare Baka Eju Sampi Yishinu Kate Sume Tinte Jato Laso Wa Tesu Tu Shele Shuo Shuo Dame Tima Jese De Rando Losa Jawa Yase Kwa Jema Chashi Kaya Kwanen Peki Pema Peki Hese Sundu Peki Teki 国际学大对被自己和往来，让美术是个国家间资本体制，那么说话呢，跟这法律军队国际部，在电脑嘛，就说也点了几多这帮这个我都会喜欢现在也来往外的，就说这都是搭档，这些呢就推荐老板，这里面得培养个啥子，就检查对这边都有些人做。高位不会是把那个打电话嘛，就觉得你这个是我的这个作为消费实体保护的东西。Thank you, Gisela. Thank you, everyone.